How do? So, we're talking about my new sport. I call it motor jousting. You'll need to get a sword. And, like, in America, sword is in the left hand, apparently. I think this is what we should do. We should all go get one-handed, left-handed swords, and just when we have difficulties in traffic, we just bash the fuckers to death with them. Like, put some dings in their fucking car, and then drive the fuck off. Har har har! I'm a fucking pirate. I had someone try to road rage me off the road today. They were going 70 and a 40, and I made a right turn assuming that they weren't going 70 and a 40, and they had to slow down. Yeah, fuck those people. This is in a nutshell why, like, I don't know. I think people should fuck around and find out more. Like, I don't understand what's with people. Part of it is, I guess, from my part of it, I did turn too soon. I should have waited for him. And I knew that. I turned anyway. I turned because God told me to. You know, sometimes an asshole needs to learn a lesson. And that can only be given out by a bigger asshole. That's kind of my thought about it. And that's my thought about many of the things that have happened in the last year. Is that some people need to learn some lessons, and apparently we're learning them. This is the learning period of our new empire. Here soon, we're going to have a voting block of people that want to put bodies in the ground for America. That's what's going to happen. Because what's going on right now is basically a result of us not having a strong military policy. And we don't have a strong military policy because Joe Biden is bought and paid for by China. And China wants us and Russia to go to war together so that, why? Oh, because China won't get hit in that war most likely. And then they stand a chance of being the next empire to rule the earth for the next 10,000 years. That's the way they see it. If they are the place where everyone has to go to buy their shit, they're always going to have the best shit after a world war between Russia and America. We are watching the Chinese start World War III. I think COVID was either them or us. I don't really know which. Like, that was the start of World War III. This was a biological attack, and I was right. If you go back and listen to those chats years ago, I was saying that I think this was a bioweapon released by the US in China, knowing it would cover the whole planet, but it wouldn't be that bad, but it'll destroy the economies, and it will create a situation where we're at now, where I really think somebody wanted to grab some power some places, and they needed the United States to be lessened to do it. But they also want the United States to still police the world and keep Russia and China at bay, so they wounded us. They didn't kill us. It's very smart. It's very smart, Germans. Like, that's the other thing. This smells of fucking Germany. It just does. They want to rule the world. They've always wanted to rule the goddamn world. I sit here every night on the edge of World War III, and now I'm readying to go to fucking Idabel for reasons I know not why, basically. And I'm sitting here going back and forth on it like, should I do that? And waiting till Tuesday was a good call, because that means I can go get an interest-free loan tomorrow, hopefully. If I tell him what I'm doing, he'll give me one. He gave me one a couple days ago just for gas money. And that's pretty dope. When you have a friend that's good, but like, this is a pawn shop that I like to deal with a lot, buy stuff from, sell stuff from. I'm one of his best customers. Like, when I sell stuff to him, I know I'll get a good deal on something else later. Like, that's how you should do business. And this is in a nutshell why I can just go get gas money to go to Idabel probably tomorrow. I probably don't even have to leave him anything. Like, he has some 45 that I want back. Like, I don't know, he usually doesn't go too far out on a limb though. But I don't know. I don't know what I would take to pawn. I was thinking about pawning the fucking 9mm ammo to go. I don't really want to do that. I could 100% pawn this. I'm not going to do that either. And, you know, a lot of people be like, why do you prize the sword so much? To be honest, it's because they really can't take this away from you. And for me, if I have this in my hand and you don't have a gun, you're probably dead. You're not taking this from me, and I'm going to beat the living shit out of you with it while I stab you with it. That's, you know, in real sword combat, inevitably it ends up at we both have steel clubs. Like, that tends to be how it ends. And in a world where no one else has a sword, that's where you live. If you cut people, great. Sword's a good club. It's a club that no one can take from you. Like, a lot of people don't get that the first swords were metal clubs. If you go look up the Kurgans, like the Highlander, the Kurgans were real people on the steppes of Russia. They built stone pyramids, basically, that were like small ones over their dead bodies. They carried copper and bronze swords that were like paddles. They're wide at one end and skinny at the other, and about yay long, and they had blades down the sides. That is a sharp club to beat people with. Those were the first swords. I guarantee you. There's the sickle sword and other shit like that too, but like, I always wondered why we had the design of swords early that we did. Those are just the ones that we know about because they were in temperate zones. Okay? Very clearly, the Russians and Scandinavians and shit had swords then too, and I think that they looked a lot more like those Kurgan ones. Like, there's a bunch of different warrior cultures that they've found in ancient times, and one of them is all around this hammer, and it's in Scandinavia. They make stone hammers, and they're all buried with them, and like, it's Thor's hammer basically. Their weapon was also a thing to do a lot of other things with, and it was a symbol of their god. Much as like the cruciform hilt of most swords is a symbol of your god. I like this thing because it sends a lot of different messages about my religion. First off, it is very much like a Marine Corps officer's saber in the handle, and I like that. Second, it is a scimitar. This is a sword of pirates and shit in northern Africa and just bad motherfuckers, and Texas cavalry. Texas cavalry carried these sabers a lot, believe it or not, because they could buy them. And they actually were in Texas before the Civil War because they're a fashion statement. They look flashy. Like, this is my grandfather's jewelry. If you look at it, it's all, if I can, it's all brass and flashy and shit, just like this. This is cowboy crap. So's this. Believe it or not. And I love that there were Texas cavalrymen carrying fucking scimitars. Like, it's just badass. It just is. I loved the movie Aladdin, and growing up, this was kind of what a sword was to me. Between that and the Marine Corps officer influence, like, this is the sword that I wanted. I needed a sword to have for the rest of my life, and I bought one. I'm going to buy one other that's going to be a kukri made in Nepal. This is made in India, and I like Indian-made swords. They're very old world. This, other than the plastic instead of bone, this is a sword out of the 1800s. Very cool. The kukri, this thing is long, right? A kukri does a lot of different shit. It is a cool thing, and it is a sword. It is not really a knife. It depends on what kind of kukri you get. They make tiny ones, right? But like the normal size military kukri is a short sword. That's what it's made to do. That's why it's such a good knife. A lot of people don't get. Most swords are very big knives. Even this one, I'm going to have to reprofile the edge on this probably eventually. It would cut better, but I'd like to get a sharpening thing to do that with because my current belt sander is a small old one from high school that is sad. But yeah, this is why the saber dueling should be our new sport, basically. We're all going to be pirates of the prairie. Fucking, like, you imagine seeing two cars out in the middle of a fucking parking lot at a mall doing fucking suicide runs at each other, trying to fucking chop at each other. That's coming. I guarantee you that's coming. All it needs to happen is more people like me to wake up to what's going on and how fucking ending the world is. Because that's part of it is, you know, either the world is ending or it's not. And if it's not, we're about to see fucking party like the 1960s happen again. I think you're going to see that no matter what. The hippies right now are scared shitless and afraid to leave their homes. If the Republicans get power again and they create safety again for these people, you're going to see just hippies everywhere. And to be honest, it's that world that I'm going to be entering into. And that is why I'm packing this thing. And this thing is more just for fun. Like, this is the serious, like, real deal weapon, right? For the hippie. Like, you can get this without paperwork. You can go do all the drugs you want and you can have it. That's kind of a plan, basically. Wandering in the West. I don't really plan to do that many drugs and shit, but like, I will. Like, this is half of the thing. Like, I don't like being addicted to things. I really don't. However, the drugs that I enjoy doing are not addictive. It's like mushrooms, to be honest. Like, that's what I would like to try. I haven't done that yet. I've done LSD, and I really enjoyed that. And kind of this is, I'm going to go out there with the fucking bush hippies and shit and do a bunch of fucking mushrooms. Seems like a good plan. Like a better plan than a lot of shit. I need to figure out food. I have food storage, but I need to like grow food somewhere eventually. But that's, the other thing is food storage wise, I've got quite a bit. And that's why, like, I'm not really that worried about not being able to buy food for a while, especially not a couple of years, which looks like what's this is going to be probably. Couple years of weirdness. And that's either going to be like followed by World War III, followed by the end of the world, followed by a new era of the planet, basically. We're entering into a new era. The United States is not the dominant world power. England lost her empire long ago, but has a loose federation of things, right? And that includes America to some extent. This is honestly, we always had the special relationship with England. That's going to be important before too long. Basically, because of what they've done, we're going to either probably all die or have to rely heavily on our allies. And I don't know if that's good or bad, really. Probably bad. I'm curious to see if Biden wins tomorrow. I know he's not even on the ballot, but tomorrow's election is Biden versus Trump. This is the weirdest 4 years of our lives. I guarantee you that. I think we're going to get Trump again in 2 years, but we need to send a message tomorrow to fucking all of those rich fucks that they don't own us. They don't own America. And it doesn't matter how many fucking elections you try to rig. Eventually, some of them are going to fucking get through. And I think we're going to get enough of them to get the Congress back. And that will balance out a lot of this shit. Right now, the only saving grace that we've had is the Supreme Court. And I think that was because while we had the Senate, the House, and the presidency, we did what we could. And that was to secure the Supreme Court. And now we just take everything to court. Because we're in the right. The law is the law. The Constitution is the Constitution. You can't do some of this shit. But in the meantime, we need the fucking bleeding to stop. Which is why tomorrow you need to go vote Republican. Or anyone that's not this. It doesn't really matter, Republican, not Republican. Someone who's not going to vote for this. But that's in general not a Democrat. Like, I'm not really a Republican at all. I'm libertarian as fuck, obviously. Joe Exotic for president. Honestly, Joe Exotic for emperor tomorrow. Here's my caveat. America, elect Joe Exotic to be king for 10 years. With me watching directly over him, behind him. You'd get a very interesting country. Because, like, that fucker's crazy. And I'm crazy. But I will keep him less crazy. And maybe we should have a third person watching me, but Blazer. Blazer's good at that. And Blazer can't be bought or reasoned with, which is one of the things I love about Blazer. Like, it's nice to have a best friend. I guess I've always had him. I never, you never really know how you are with somebody until it's 10 years later, I guess. But Blazer's one of the best friends I ever made. He is someone that if I told him I needed him here tonight, he would be here tonight. Friends like that are few and far between. They're the only kind I'm ever interested in having. See you guys later.